Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the inaugural webinar for 2011 for South Australia. My name is John Dorr, and I'm the Marketing Manager based in Los Angeles for the South Australian Tourism Commission. As you would have seen in my email last week, we're actually going to conduct 10 sessions this year, which are going to conclude in late August. But to start off the series, unlike last year, we're actually done something different. Especially for a number of you who are quite familiar with our star regions, Kangaroo Island, Barossa, Adelaide and the like. We're actually going to focus on 4 lesser-known regions, starting with the Eyre Peninsula today. We are very lucky to be joined by Paula Aird in Adelaide, in South Australia, who is the Regional Manager for the Eyre Peninsula, along with Matt Guy, our Marketing Executive also in Adelaide. So before I hand it over to Paula and Matt, just a couple of reminders for those of you that are new to the webinar series. You can ask questions throughout the webinar via the chat box, which you should see in the little pop-up window. So as we go through, please feel free to type out any questions in that chat box, and we will follow them up at the end of the webinar. Also, what we'll probably do, if we've got time, is open up for questions over the phone. We're going to try and keep this to around 25 minutes. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Paula Aird. Thank you, Paula.
Thank you, John. Good afternoon. I'm really excited today about being able to share with you Eyre Peninsula, tell you about Eyre Peninsula. Some of you may know about Eyre Peninsula. Others, I'm just trying to get my little slideshow happening here. Beautiful. We're part of South Australia, travelling by road from Adelaide. It's about 650, 700 kilometres to Port Lincoln. If you want to fly, it's only about 45 minutes. We have about 2,000 kilometres of absolutely pristine coastline, and together with that, we have some amazing marine activities and wildlife encounters in the inland as well. Access to Eyre Peninsula, as you can see on this slide, there are daily flights from Adelaide to Port Lincoln. There are 2 air companies, Regional Express, known as Rex, and Qantas Link. So it's 50 minutes to Port Lincoln from Adelaide. Regional Express also flies from Adelaide to Whyalla and Ceduna. However, if you choose to drive, it's probably about 7.5 hours to Port Lincoln or Ceduna. The opportunity, if you decide to drive, is that it is a discovery tour, and you can take 2 days or 3 days to get to Port Lincoln or Ceduna if you choose to. Flying into Port Lincoln, Ceduna or Whyalla airports, there are cars available for hire as well. This is one of my all-time favourite shots of this sea lion. Sea lions are recognised as puppy dogs of the sea. They want to play with you, they interact with you. The more somersaults and the more playing that you do, the more they want to play. But Eyre Peninsula is recognised as nature's playground. We have amazing wildlife. We have really spectacular landscapes with cliffs, and on the coast and inland we have some amazing organ pipe type formations. Great fishing, and you can have a beach all to yourself, and the catch is a very varied selection of fish species. And of course then we have some absolutely delicious seafood. So Port Lincoln is recognised as the seafood capital of Australia. We, in Port Lincoln, have one of the largest fishing fleets in the Southern Hemisphere. And when you're visiting Port Lincoln and you see this fishing fleet, it's a very tidy fishing fleet, which is a reflection of the wealth of the industry within Port Lincoln. As I mentioned earlier, 2,000 kilometres of amazing coastline, footprint-free beaches, fisherman's paradise, and yes, there's frequent close-up wildlife encounters both on the land and the sea. The other feature is the Nullarbor Plain, which links South Australia to Western Australia. Nullarbor actually means no trees. Into Port Lincoln, some of the highlights in the Port Lincoln area are attractions such as swimming with or hand feeding tuna. Tuna are an amazing creature. You can eat them too. Tuna sashimi is absolutely amazing, but to actually swim with these creatures that are lightning fast is really awesome. Also out of Port Lincoln you have the great white shark cage diving experience, which is a one-day cage dive. Again, these creatures of the sea are to be respected and you have to be in awe of them. Great dining out options, four-wheel drive safari tours out of Port Lincoln and also out of Woodner in the Gawler Ranges. Whale watching and swimming with the sea lions and dolphins. That experience is available at Streaky Bay, or a little place just south of Streaky Bay called Aird Bay. There's also an opportunity to swim with sea lions and dolphins at Port Lincoln and Coffin Bay as well. Heading out across the Nullarbor, whale watching at the head of Bight, which is the season for that is June through to October. The cliffs out there are about 270 feet high, sheer into the ocean, and between you and the South Pole there is nothing. In a normal season we can get between 80 and 100 southern right whales there. They come in there, it's a nursery actually, they come in there to give birth to their babies, and you can see the mother frolicking with the calf, teaching them survival and before they head back down south. So if you were travelling into Port Lincoln, I would suggest that it would be 2 to 3 days would be your minimum itinerary, ex-Adelaide. So I would be suggesting that you travel into Port Lincoln early in the morning with QantasLink or Regional Express. QantasLink has a 74-seater plane, Regional Express has a 34-seater. So depending on the consumer and their comfort levels and what opportunities and times are available, you do have the opportunity of selecting either of those. Pick up a vehicle from the Port Lincoln Hotel Airport, and then accommodation. There are a couple of options that I'd be suggesting: the Port Lincoln Hotel and Tonongo Eco Lodges. Quite different facilities, and I'll talk a little bit more about those shortly. Some activities that you could take part in on that first day would be to swim with the tuna with Adventure Bay Charters. Their tours depart daily at 10:30 a.m. and they're usually about a 2-hour tour, so you could have lunch at the Marina Hotel, which is where you pick up and where you depart the tour at the end of it. Then in the afternoon there's an opportunity just to do some independent sightseeing around Port Lincoln. Day 2 could be a full-day shark cage dive with Calypso Star Charter. It is a full day, but everything is fully catered. Day 3, there's a couple of options. There could be a 4-wheel drive adventure or a walking tour with Wilderness Wonders, or going out with Coffin Bay Explorer, which is swim with the sea lions and go out to an oyster lease. The Port Lincoln Hotel, as you can see on this, is a 4-star resort hotel. It overlooks Boston Bay and 111 rooms, including 22 luxury suites. It also has a restaurant and bars, obviously. It's an easy walk to the rest of Port Lincoln, and as I said, it's overlooking Boston Bay. So even just in the dining area, it is a really beautiful facility. Tonongo luxury eco lodges are about 20 minutes out of Port Lincoln. The energy that's been expended to make sure that these properties are 100% eco-friendly in every aspect is absolutely amazing. There are 2 lodges on private property. This one you're looking at now is the Ridgetop Lodge. It is the most amazing experience. You have 360-degree views from this lodge. There is another lodge which is in the valley, which is actually one of those cosy little places that would be just ideal on a really cold day. So it is just an amazing experience, and attention to detail is fantastic. It can be fully catered if the consumer decides that's the way they'd like to go.